when you look back on your career, where did Stargate fall for you, and what was going on in your life? And tell us about how you got involved in this industry.
Yeah, Stargate holds a very special place in my heart. The first episode I did, I can't remember, I think it was season three maybe,
Hmm.
where I played a guest star in Rules of Engagement. That was my first ever professional film TV job.
Really?
Yeah, yeah.
You
I had
couldn't
just,
tell.
yeah, well, thank you. I can tell when I look back at the footage. Um, yeah, I had finished theater school and really didn't know a whole lot about film TV at that point. I was pretty green. I went in and I guess my audition landed well with the producers and but they knew that I was pretty new, so they actually invited me out to set to watch the filming process of the episode before. Just to get me used to being on a set and meet the some of the cast and get more comfortable before I showed up and started shooting my episode. So I went out and immediately, met Richard Dean Anderson, and of course, I grew up watching MacGyver like everybody else. So that
Yeah.
was a big thing for me when I was that young. And I also met Peter DeLuise, who was directing the previous episode, not knowing that years later, Peter and I would become friends and I would work with him on a subsequent episode of Stargate.
Great guy.
So yeah, and actually it's funny that we're having this interview today because one of the other actors that was on that episode with me, Jesse Moss, I just ran into him at a charity benefit last night, and he said, "Oh, what are you up to?" And I said, "Oh, actually, yeah, we did Stargate all those years ago. I'm doing this interview tomorrow with Gatecast or Dial the Gate." And yeah, so
Oh,
yeah,
okay. Yes. Yeah. He was your lieutenant. That's
that's right.
right.
Yeah,
Wow, I'll
yeah,
be
yeah,
darned. Small
yeah,
world,
yeah.
man.
Very small world. And then Dion Johnstone, who was also on the episode with me and went on to play many other roles on
Yes.
Stargate as well. He's also became a very good friend of mine, and we keep in touch. So yeah, it is a small world, and it's funny. It's like that 6 Degrees of Kevin Bacon game. You're never that far from somebody else in the business.
The the business really grew around Stargate. Vancouver as a town did.
Yeah.
I mean,
Mhm.
when you look back over 17 seasons of television for those three shows, it was one thing in 1997, and when it left in 2011, Vancouver was a completely different city. Just
Yeah.
absolutely wide open in terms of opportunity for different folks and everything else.
Yeah, I think Stargate, in the late 90s, Vancouver was becoming, Hollywood North, as we call it.
Hmm.
And Stargate, along with the X-Files and a few other shows in that era, really put Vancouver on the map as a filming location. And yeah, it was an industry anchor here for many years, and was a great gig for crew and actors that got to be on the show, and yeah, it was fantastic. I mean, Brad Wright and the gang at Stargate, many of us went on to work with Brad and in other productions, and yeah, Stargate was a big thing in Vancouver for a long time.
Before I dig into more of your Stargate experience,
Yeah.
tell me about Mitch and Murray Productions.
Are you a Glenn Ross fan?
I have been known to see a couple of the
Yeah.
shows. Yes, absolutely.
Uh, so that's the theater company based in Vancouver. I founded it, about 10, 12 years ago. And I was always a David Mamet fan, and a huge fan of Glenn Ross. It's one of my favorite plays. So
Intense, man.
yeah, yeah. And Mitch and Murray in the play version, in the film as well, you never see them. They're just talked about. They're these kind of, mysterious guys who pull the strings and hold everybody's fate in their hands. And so I thought, that's kind of my vision for theater as well. Like when you're storytelling, you don't really want to see the puppet master, the people behind the scenes. You want to just be watching what's in front of you and not sort of see all the mechanics. And so that kind of became the namesake of the company. And yeah, we're still running and have a great audience following, and I love theater. It's my first love.
Do you do original productions? Do you do pieces that have been previously performed? What are your parameters?
We do plays from all over the global stage. So we've done a couple David Mamet plays. We've done plays from Annie Baker and a lot of the world's great playwrights. We did do an original work a couple of years ago. I actually wrote a play that we gave it its world premiere 2 years ago. It was called Instantaneous Blue. And it was a semi-autobiographical play based on my experience with dementia in my family. Both of my parents went through dementia and Alzheimer's, so it was definitely a challenging piece, but found an audience, and a lot of people really related to it, and it did really well.
Did you find? I'm curious because Brad Wright also had a similar experience in creating an episode of Atlantis called The Shrine.
I didn't know that.
Yes. Did you find yourself plumbing a lot of your feelings while you were writing that?
Oh yeah, this was during COVID when I wrote it. You know, when we were all just kind of siloed and away in our spaces, and you know, I along with my wife, we were raising a kid, and my mom was still alive at that point, and I would just take a couple hours a day and sort of go into my office, and yeah, it was something where it was a bit of a cleansing experience, because I took so much of what I was going through, and I thought, you know, if I just tell the truth here and artfully put a representation of what I went through on the stage, hopefully it can be a cathartic experience for other people. It's an incurable disease, and it's awful on the families and the caregivers, but I feel like, you know, something, a piece of art can just make you feel a little less alone with the experience.
I've never shared this on the show before, but I am going through a similar experience with my family.
I'm very sorry to hear that.
And I appreciate that, and I may ask you for the play so I can read it.
Of course.
So,
yeah, absolutely.
All the best to this production company. This is great.
Good luck with the journey. Yeah.
Absolutely, it's going to be a long one, but that's the thing that I love about this format of expression, is that you can. I'm not sure you can do the same thing with painting and with music and everything else, but there's something specific to this form of expression, because you can actually have the characters speak your thoughts. And aspects of your experience and conflicting ideas that you have and frustrations about, you know, not getting enough sleep, or, you know, I've already said this and we've already dealt with this. And so I can only imagine the journey that you went on, especially during COVID. So.
Yeah. That's a longer conversation, how that has sort of affected the whole experience with my mom being in a care home at the time. Boy, we could have a whole separate podcast just based on this topic.
Have you been tested?
I haven't.
I haven't either.
I definitely have my, you know, insurance and paperwork all sort of put together in that event. But I try not to, you know, all you can do is try to stay healthy, and
that's it.
Not dwell on what the future might hold.
That's certainly true. Thanks for watching this clip from Dial the Gate. You can find the full live stream shows on our YouTube channel, or visit dialthegate.com for the complete schedule. See you on the other side.